Hi, I'm M. Jason Graham, and this is Writing. Today we finish with part 4 of our discussion of reflection, as in character reflection. And we finish with something that I call shifts. Now, what is a shift? A shift is an event for which a character has neither the resources or the life experience to overcome. Shifts require the character to reevaluate their psyche and acquire new resources. Now, it's possible for a shift to be literally anything because we are a diverse number of human beings with a diverse number of experiences, new experiences that happen to everyone. So just because you think that an event is not a big deal doesn't mean that it is this going to be the same for the next person. I will say, however, that we want to focus on the shifts, and remember, this is all in relation to the story, and this is everything leading up to the action in the story. So all of the shifts that you select must be changes that allow the character the space or the opportunity to be transformed by the story. And in point of fact, the story that you're writing is actually a shift. It's an event. Because there's going to be an event that occurs in the character. You know what? We'll talk about that in the next unit in Story Blueprint. But just suffice to say that they have to be events. And so here are 3 guidelines that I think that are good for everyone to exercise. Now, keep in mind that I said guidelines. So they're not rules, but they're guidelines that I think will be helpful. First, 1 shift for every 5 to 7 years of life. So I get this question a lot. If you have a character that is a teenager, for instance, or a preteen, how many shifts should they have? In general, an adult character, I would say somebody who's 25, should have 5 shifts. So somebody between the ages of 25 and 60 roughly should have 5 shifts that lead into the story. Someone who's a preteen should probably have 3. If the character is younger, 2. If you're writing for characters that young. The next guideline is it must be an event. So when you list this, you should be listing the thing that happened that caused the character to have to make a decision. And then the character made this decision. That way, there is a clear understanding in your mind of how and why the character made this choice. The final thing is it must increase in scope. So each shift, one right after another, needs to get bigger and more profound. And I'm going to actually do the shifts for Dravon. Dravon. I finally selected a name for the character. I'm going to do his shifts as an example so that you can see what I'm talking about. But each shift needs to be more dramatic than the next. But it also needs to not be more dramatic than the event that is going to happen in the story. Very tricky sometimes with that. But that's why we're writers, and that's why we're doing this exercise. So, let me let you see that real quick, and then I will erase it so that we can do our listing. I love this part. So, here's your format. And again, general format. what you're going to do is that you're going to list the event. So I give it the event name, so a little title to the event, and then character age, and then description. I don't think you can see that. So I'm going to put that down here. Then a description of the event. Okay? Event name, character age, description of the event. So for Drevon, first event, titled Discovery. Because remember, Drevon was a child star. So this event he was discovered. Age 5. Or you could just put 5 or 5 years old, however you want to. And then wins contest to be repped by Chicago Talent Agency. Okay, so Discovery. Age 5, wins contest to be repped by a Chicago talent agency. So if you remember, he's from Columbus, Ohio. So at age 5, he wins a contest to be repped by a Chicago talent agency. Chicago, for those of you who don't know, is in Illinois. So, and Chicago is considered a big city. So he got big city representation when he was 5 years old. Next one. 2. Hit series. Age 11. Hollywood success due to sitcom. Now, I actually have more written here, and what I have written, I'll tell you, but I need to leave space on the board. So, Drevon is transformed into a superstar via the success of his sitcom, Half Plot and the Hendricksons. 3. And keep in mind that this fits. So first he's discovered. Then the next thing is a hit series for him, which thrusts him into the spotlight. Now, as happens, Scandal, age 16, sitcom canceled child molested. Okay, so sitcom canceled. So it's a scandal amid child molestation allegations. Half Plot and the Hendricksons is canceled. So basically, there was the producers on the show. Somebody was accused of sexual molestation of Dravon and a couple of other kids as well. And so the sitcom was canceled as a part of that. Again, scope larger. 4. Momager. Momager fired. Age 18. Fires mom as manager. So at 18, he fires his mom as manager because she tries to make him get counseling. So he was actually molested, and there's a little bit more to the story, but he actually fires her as his management over the disagreement. So big life change, scandal, firing the person who's been managing his mom. So that's a breakup of a major relationship in his personal life. That's bigger. So the last thing is 5. And 5 is meltdown. Age 25. Loses it during a fan convention. Okay, so the last part is Javon coming back, and you see it's been 10 years after his sitcom was canceled, almost 10 years, and so he's trying to get back into the spotlight, and he snaps because the fans keep asking him about the sexual molestation allegations. And so he's seen as a wild man, and nobody, up until the moment in the story, which he's 35, if you remember the physicality traits, his age is 35. So he loses it pretty badly, and nobody really wants to work with him because he's bad press. Kind of think I kind of think of him as kind of like Chris Brown, like the situation that kind of Chris Brown is in right now. So I'm going to get up so that you can see this, but I got to work on not turning my butt to the camera. So, I think you can see that pretty well. But those are the 5 shifts for Dravon. That's his name. Yeah. So, there you go. Okay, so to recap, shifts are events that happen in a character's life for which they have no resources to overcome and they have no experience in dealing with. And so it forces them to do something that they haven't done before, to try something that they haven't done before. But the shifts need to also increase in dramatics, but the last shift can't be more dramatic than the story that the character is currently going into. And I think that we can agree that going to Africa to film a movie and finding out that you're going to be teaching royal children American Sign Language kind of tips the scales and would be the next step. So what I will do is I'm going to go ahead and type up a pivotal character worksheet with what we've got just this far with the reflection, so that you can see an example of what the pivotal character worksheet looks like when it's partially filled out anyway. And by the end of next week, we should have a full pivotal character sheet for you to look at. This is Writing is brought to you by mjgstorycreation.com. Go to mjgstorycreation.com and get your free story evaluation. If you have an idea for a series that you want to see happen, all it takes is just for you to have faith in yourself and to spend the time. You're writing anyway, and if you're not writing, you should be writing. I hope that you are enjoying this series, and please click like, subscribe, leave comments, share. Everybody is a storyteller. They just don't know it yet. I'll see you next time, and happy writing.